We're really doing the thing. We're really doing it. All right, let's start this up. Hi everyone, my name is Lewis, and this is my first YouTube video. And so if it seems a little, lacking in some categories, just give me some time. Give me some time. We're gonna get through this together. All right. For anything else, I'm just letting you all know that if you want to skip, you can. There is the timestamps on the bottom. If you want to stay, that's nice. Appreciate that. You don't have to. All right. You really don't. I promise. But if you want to, I am excited, and I just want you all to know what this channel is about. I am a follower of Christ, and I want this channel to be Christian based. I want to talk about some of my testimonies, some of the struggles we go through, but I also think it's important to talk about apologetics and defending the faith. So I would love to talk about that as well. If anyone has any other suggestions about a video, then please feel free to reach out in the comments or Instagram or TikTok, whatever the case. So I don't want to hold much of y'all time, but I'm very excited to start this video. By the title of this video, we are talking about lust. I want to talk about some of my own struggles that I had growing up. I have a lot, so I won't make this too exhausting, but hopefully you all can take something from this, apply it to your own life. Also be applying some biblical instruction at the end that talks about it. That way I'm not just giving you a testimony, leaving you with that and just keeping it moving. Without any further ado, let's just start the video. Let's just start it. My whole journey with Christ started around the age of 7 when I started going to a new school that actually taught me about scripture. I went to a Christian school, and every Friday we would have to memorize scripture, recite it, learn it. It was a lot of work, but it set a good foundation for me in my walk with Christ. I won't sit here and act like I was like Christian, like I was following Christ, but I had a foundation for him. I knew about him. I knew what he stood for, and I could understand a bit how to apply it to my life. When I started to get involved in some content that wasn't for me, wasn't suitable for my age range, it started with certain videos that weren't as bad, but it progressively got worse to a point where we were in different territory. We were in territory that we shouldn't have been in. All right, we shouldn't have been in that area, but we were there. It was too late. It was already in motion, and it just caused a big disturbance in my life. Fast forward up to about freshman year of high school. That is when I had my first actual encounter with someone physically. That was, I don't know why. I don't know who. I don't know what made me want to do that, but I did it, and it was too far gone at that point. At that moment, that's all I was thinking about. I was only thinking about what I could do with that next. What can I do next? Like, what's the next situation I'll be in? What's the next interaction I'll have with somebody in that way? That is all my mind wanted. Like, that was literally all I could think of every day of the week. Now, at that point, I didn't go the whole way, right? I didn't go the full kablam kaboom. You know what I'm saying? It was just enough to where I was scratching an itch that I've had. But fast forward to sophomore year.
That's when it got bad.
Sophomore year is when I got involved with someone. We'll just call her Becky. Becky and I were two toxic people that both had issues, that got in a relationship, and it should not have been a relationship at all. We should not have done that. And Becky and I are both two people that lost our V cards to each other. That was the start of something awful. The next 3 years, it was just a toxic relationship where we were just together, not together, but we were still involved with each other in that way. Got to a point where her and I broke up for reasons that I won't get into this video. But once we broke up, I felt as though I was free. And in reality, I was just a chain to my sin, but I was going out, I was doing whatever I pleased. No longer felt like I was tied down. I just became a hot mess, to put it in simple terms. It was bad. It was bad. And so for about a year or two, I was just in this loop of being with a girl, breaking up with a girl, being with a girl, breaking up with a girl, being with a girl, breaking up, to the point where it was like clockwork. I know it was gonna happen. I was trying to prevent it, and it would happen anyways, to the point where I was just kind of addicted to the routine of it. During that time, though, there's a light. All right, I promise there's a light at the end of the tunnel. All right. During this time, though, I started to get into a church, and this church became my safe haven. And I actually met one of my mentors that to this day is probably one of the most important people in my life. He pretty much just talked to me in a way that I've never talked to an adult before. And it was just so welcoming to know that somebody in the church could talk to me like this, because before this point, like I mentioned, I didn't really have a relationship with God. I didn't talk to him in a way. I knew scriptures like the back of my hand. I knew every book of the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelation. I knew certain things like that, but I didn't have a relationship with him. And my mentor actually guided me to have a relationship with God. During this time, though, I'm still balancing the acts of spending time with God and living in the world, and they just kept colliding. Like it just kept colliding. In scripture, it talks about you cannot serve two masters, and I was trying to do both for so long to the point where anytime I was with somebody in that manner, the conviction just got to a point where I just could not take it anymore. We all have these big sins in our mind, and we all think one sin is greater than the other. But in reality, the reason sin is because they all fall short of the standard of God. Now, the consequences are different, and you may have different consequences depending on the actual sin that you're committing. But it doesn't change the fact that they all fall short of the glory of God. So during that time, I finally came to a point where I started to realize that my sin had to go. And I realized at that point that I was putting a category of sin and saying, this is greater than this. But I didn't realize that I was minimizing the other issues that I had. I thought it was just when I was with somebody that was the problem, but doom scrolling and seeing girls on my feed was a big issue. Watching certain movies and listening to certain music that was aiding in this struggle I had. And it all just came together. After coming full circle and realizing the big issue I had, the room that I had with lust was much bigger than I thought. All right. It wasn't just these big sins. It all started in smaller subcategories. I was blaming so many others for my struggles. I didn't realize that I was internalizing a lot of my issues. Like it was a me problem more than anything. So once I started going to his church and then I started to spend time with my mentor, God started to change the way that I perceive my sin. Sin started to feel like a pet, not just any type of pet, but a pet that just hates you. All right. A pet that really doesn't love you. It just loves the fact that you feed it. And that's what sin was, is it's something that you shouldn't keep as a pet because all it does is drain you out of everything. It just drains you. It hasn't changed the fact that I'm still struggling with it, but it's changed the fact in how I go about fighting it. Part of the video where I do want to go into detail a little bit about biblical scriptures and how to combat against lust. 1 Corinthians 6:18 talks about flee from sexual immorality, okay? Let me make this very, very clear. Do not play around with lust. What I mean by that is don't try to fight it. You need to run from it. If you are tempted by somebody who is just lustful and causing you, run from them. Run. Run. Like this run. Like you shouldn't be playing around with it. Don't do it. And the reason the scripture says this is because our flesh is weak. Our flesh is beyond weak. We should not put any faith and any stock into the idea that our flesh will be able to fight it. Let me make this clear. There are times where we fight against lust ourselves and we may win. But the problem with that is because when we do win those fights, when we do win those battles, we don't win the war. And not only that, we start to get prideful of the fact that we did it ourselves. We get prideful. I don't know how many times I've fallen into lust or sexual sin. And after the fact, I get so full of myself. And 2 days later, I'm right back in the same boat. Because when we do it ourselves, we like to put the crown on our head and say, we did it. I did it. I'm that guy. I did it myself. Who gonna stop me? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like I was not fleeing at all. Like I was always trying to fight it myself. Like let me lock in. I got muscle, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody stopping me. Like I'm big dog out here. It's 1 a.m., but I'm gonna still scroll. Who gonna stop me? That was the biggest mistake on my part that I've ever made because I put faith in myself more than I put faith in God. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. I was not guarding my heart at all. At all. All right. I wasn't guarding my heart at all. I wasn't guarding it at all. In fact, I was renting it out to who would ever pay the most for it. All right. I was renting my heart out to anybody who would bid $1 on it. All right. I didn't take into consideration that God actually wanted my heart. You may win the battle against lust, but you will never win the war on lust with your own efforts. The biggest issue with lust above anything else is the world normalizes it. The world normalizes lust. It is going to be normal from this point on. In fact, it's gotten worse over the generations and generations. People pride themselves on how many bodies they got. People pride themselves on who they was with last week, how good the person looked. how good it was. You know what I mean? People pride themselves on sexual immorality. I did too. I did too. I really did. The biggest thing that I've learned is that God should be the only thing we worship. God should be the only thing we worship. When you worship anything else that's not God, it will fail you. When it fails you, what do you have next? What is your foundation on? Not if it fails you, when it fails you. Okay? So be mindful of your lust. When you mess up because it happens, do not get to a point where you are shaming yourself and making yourself feel guilty. All it does is make you feel worse about the struggle you're already going through. I am not freed from this sin yet, and I wish I was. God is still working on me. And the more I give energy to this lust and I'm always thinking about it, and I'm not focused on God, I'm not actually turned towards Him, it'll always have me in a chokehold. It'll always have me in bondage. The goal lust has is its goal is to make sure you think about it. The goal of lust is to make sure that you're honed in on it. Lust wants you to just be like right there, like tunnel vision all the time. But turn towards God. Like literally turn towards Him. All right, just turn towards Him. And you're, instead of focusing on the lust so hard, you're focusing on God. Your eyes are peeled. Have you ever seen those movies where they're like really high up? One of the characters says, "Don't look down, don't look down." That's what lust is. It's like the moment you start looking down is the moment you start looking on your issue, and that starts to be the only thing that's consuming you. Instead, focus on God. So that's my story, a little bit of my testimony, and hopefully I was able to give a little bit of good biblical advice. I'm excited to start the journey with you all. Don't forget to like the video if you found this helpful. And if you want to continue this journey with me, make sure to hit the subscribe button.